We have all magic. Okay, Debbie, are we ready in the back? Okay, we ready in the front, Jane? Okay, colleagues. My faith, chance to breathe. Okay, perfect. Well, good morning. Today is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 9:07 a.m. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on a best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us online by going to our website. Live stream is also available at tctvonline.com and click on live broadcasts. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Public comment. For those intending to provide public comment to the board, you may attend in person or email submissions to the public comments email on our website. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email public comments by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners Office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon, 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. Do we have anyone signed up in the room, or is anyone registered online for public comment? We do not. Okay, thank you. Well, we have called this meeting to order. I would invite everyone in the room to please sign the guest list if you have not yet done that, and then we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Fournier, would you please?
I would be happy to.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We have no public comment. There is one non-agenda item, and it will be taken after agenda item number 7. So we'll start with the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Seconded.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move into our legislative administrative agenda with item number 6. Excuse me. Consideration of a resolution in the matter of proclaiming May 2nd, 2024 as a day of prayer in Tillamook County. We have Linda Hanratty, president of the Tillamook Countywide Prayer Team, with us this morning. Linda, please.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
I'm
morning.
going to give each of you guys have you.
I do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's the meeting notice here.
Thank you.
Here is the agenda.
Great, thank you.
And I think that date we have is wrong.
May 2nd date.
Right from last year.
Oh, okay, May 1st. Oh, you're right. Look at that.
Good.
Thank you for letting us know.
So. I just want to say thank you for your service. We really appreciate the work you do. On behalf of the Tillamook Countywide Prayer Team and churches in Tillamook County, of which there are 43, I wish to thank the commissioners for their unwavering support of National Day of Prayer and just the goodwill that you have had over the years. You have made the first Thursday in May a day of prayer in Tillamook County, and I found records of the event being held in 2002, public records, but we actually started with you all in 1993, and we have had an event every year, except one year during the COVID epidemic, and we did the following year. We come together in the finest American tradition to pray for our people, communities, state, and nation. This year marks the 74th National Day of Prayer. It's being done all over the nation. Last year, I believe we had 71 events in the state of Oregon. During the Korean War, Reverend Billy Graham issued a challenge to set aside a day of prayer annually when the nation and leaders would come together before Almighty God to pray for our nation. On April 17th, 1952, President Harry Truman signed a bill requiring each successive president to declare a national day of prayer on a day that was the current president deemed appropriate. In 1988, the law was amended to make the first Thursday in May National Day of Prayer by President Ronald Reagan. There's been an observance in Tillamook County since its inception, just about. I just learned that it was 1993. It was led then by Tillamook County Men for Christ, and then the Tillamook County-wide prayer team took it over. So I would like permission, I'd like to request permission to use the front yard around the flagpole for the National Day of Prayer observation. And I'd like permission, because I'm hoping it doesn't rain, but we would like permission to put canopies up if we do have rain. I'm hoping we don't. And permission to use a sound system and then plug it in. We got, I don't want to say anything, but one year somebody was upset we used electricity. So we will be there for about an hour and a half. And we will, of course, clean up. And we would like to invite one of you or all of you to come and be a part of the event, and somebody to read the proclamation if you're available. So.
Okay, thank you. Well, Linda, we appreciate you bringing this forward. It has happened here for a very long time. We understand and appreciate the history of the Day of Prayer, and you all bringing it to Tillamook County. We appreciate our ability to participate in a nationwide effort. Commissioners, comments?
Good morning. Nice to see you again. As you were talking, I was remembering fondly the events, the prayer team events that I have participated in, including during COVID when you had it at the First Christian Church, which was very nice. We missed it on the courthouse lawn, but it was very nice. And the year of the prayer train was truly memorable. That was wonderful to be on the train and move through the county praying for communities as we went through them. So I am grateful for your work. I'm grateful for your service. This is an important service to pray for people all over our community and people who are serving our community. It's close to my heart. I'm part of a prayer group that meets weekly, and we pray for our community, and we pray for everyone, and for our government, for our work, and for the state, and for the nation. And so it just is really moving to me that you do this for us also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I can't top that, so I'll just echo that.
Okay, perfect. So Commissioners, I think we would look for a motion which would also grant the request that Linda's put forward to use the front lawn and the electricity and so forth.
Absolutely. And I'm embarrassed that anybody ever suggested that you shouldn't use electricity. So I apologize for that. I don't know when that happened or why, but of course you can use electricity.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Shall I read it?
Certainly.
In the matter of proclaiming May 1st, 2025 as a day of prayer in Tillamook County, Oregon, this matter came before the Tillamook County Board of Commissioners on April 23rd, 2025 at the request of Linda Hanratty, President of the Tillamook County-wide Prayer Team. The board, being fully apprised, finds as follows. The National Day of Prayer is a tradition first proclaimed by the Continental Congress in 1775. The National Day of Prayer was established as an annual event by a joint resolution of Congress in 1952 and signed into law by President Truman. The law was amended in 1988 and signed by President Reagan, designating it as the first Thursday in May each year. The Board of County Commissioners is grateful for the ecumenical work of the Tillamook County-wide prayer team in bringing Tillamook County citizens together to pray for our county and its citizens, the state, and the nation on this National Day of Prayer. Now therefore it is hereby resolved that the Tillamook County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims Thursday, May 1st, 2025 as a day of prayer in Tillamook County and invites citizens to observe this day in ways appropriate and significant to their personal practices of faith. That's a motion.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Linda.
so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 7. Consideration of a contract for goods with Heartwood Biomass, Inc. for the Parks Department Firewood Project. And we have Dan Kais, Park Director, with us today. Good morning, Dan. Come on down. Like, was it the price is right?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So glad to make it through Garibaldi. It's always an experience. Now that they're working on the roads, it's even worse. But first of all, I'm glad I'm here, and thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. So the firewood. What's happened is that well, when I came on board last year, there was a firewood contract that had actually been re-upped like at least 3 times. And so as I was working with the Commissioner's office, a decision was made, let's not make it so complicated. Let's just do it for a year. And so we changed a little bit of the written information on the bid documents, working, of course, with the Commissioner's office and council, so that it's for a 1-year period. And what happened is that starting the bid process, we reached out. Well, I had to research the vendors, right? We located 6. We reached out to them. 4 of those wanted to receive bid documents, while 2 were not interested. So we sent those out, and out of the 4 that we sent bid documents, I think that we only got 1 back, and that was from Biomass. The rest of them said, they're interested, but what we wanted was just way too much for them. And it's a lot of firewood that we resell every year. And so went through the process. So we have in front of you today is a contract to enter into agreement with Biomass Heartwood again. And we're hoping that that the terms of the agreement are okay with you. And we would ask for your authorization to move forward with this, and of course to sign the document and to get it to them, and so that we're ready to go for this next season.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments, Commissioners?
Thank you for working on this with Isabel, and thanks to Isabel in our office. I'm glad that Heartwood Biomass wants to continue providing firewood for us. I have a little historic context because the prior to Heartwood Biomass, we had a couple of different vendors, and we often got green firewood that was smoky and stinky, and we didn't get palletized firewood, and it was just a problem every year until we started contracting with Heartwood Biomass, and they palletize the wood, they deliver the wood, they do it on time, it's always dry. It's just a really good service and a good partnership.
I agree. That's a great way to put it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks for your work, and I'm just gonna say, I love the tie.
Oh, thank
And
you.
the black shirt. It's a good look.
Thank you.
So Dan, I have a random question that comes out of a meeting I was in recently about moving firewood around the state and about the dangers due to the, what's the little boring insect that is causing trouble throughout the state. Do you know where is this heat treated or kiln treated, or do we know how we're assuring we're not bringing any nasty bugs into our county?
Yes, my understanding that it is treated to address those items, yes. And again, we think it's a great service. In fact, we just got our last load of the existing contract yesterday, so we're set for a little while. So this will, if you move forward with this contract, it'll be very timely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And it is important. It was one of the conversations at my State Forest Trust meeting about so many people will bring their own firewood from where they come from in other parts of the state, or even in other states if they're coming maybe from Washington, and they'll just load it up from their home, and they bring with them bugs that we don't have that then put our forests at risk. So it was just an interesting conversation. And there's heat treated and kiln treated, and only one of those actually kills the bug. One of them just heats it up, but not enough to, I think it's heating that's not to an adequate temperature. So there was more to know than I knew. So I'm glad that we have wood that's safe to bring here. And I'm sure if this is their business, that's what they do. So we don't want the bugs. Interesting. Yeah, no, it was actually quite interesting. I actually passed the information on to Nan and have asked them if they can share that as part of our tourism visitor work, is just the awareness that you really want to get your firewood locally, so that you're not spreading things. Anyway, thank you for my little editorial moment there.
And I didn't know that, so that's great information. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, ready for a motion?
Madam Chair, I move approval of a contract for goods with Heartwood Biomass, Inc. for the Parks Department firewood project.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, and Dan, you look like you've got the next one as well, our unscheduled item. Consideration of a resolution in the matter of applying for a local government grant from the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department for the development of a second fee collection station at Barview Jetty Campground and authorizing Dan Kais to sign the grant application.
So this is a little bit of a surprise. This grant application process has been pretty lengthy and taken a lot of time, but we're working with Global Grant Services to get it done. We're asking for a little under $40,000 for that structure, and the structures, we believe that it's needed in order to address the congestion at the park during peak times, particularly on late Friday afternoons. And we all know that there are safety issues involved with this, that in the past, there's been reports of traffic not being managed effectively, it backing up onto the highway and causing safety issues. And so this grant application is really just one small part of what we're doing to try to alleviate that and rectify those problems. So what's happened is that this last Friday afternoon, late Friday afternoon, after I had left, I had gotten this email from GGF saying, by the way, we need this resolution signed. Well, the problem is that the grant deadline is May 1st. And so it's like, okay, when I saw it after I got home, it's like, when am I going to do this? So luckily, on Monday, I contacted the commissioner's office, and I was fortunate enough to be able to get onto the schedule as an unscheduled event, and normally we're not like that. So again, I'm grateful for that. But essentially what it is that this is a requirement to have this resolution by the county. And once, if it gets approved and signed, we then have directions to send this to 3 government agencies throughout the state for them, along with a packet of information for them to have and review as well. So it's really a small part of a much larger application. I can tell you that since I've been here, we've worked with about 4 grants already. And this so far is probably the most complicated one that I've been involved with. And I wish now that I would have asked just for a lot more money, right? But $40,000 will still help us. And again, if we get this done, we're going to make huge improvements to the front entry to the park, which everybody will appreciate, I think. So I'm not sure how this works. Do I need to go over the resolution itself at this point? Is that what you'd like me to do?
I think at this point, we've all read it, so
Okay,
we'll
gotcha.
just
Okay.
open it up if there are questions or comments from commissioners.
Okay.
I support this grant application and certainly the project. It's an important project, and it would be great if the state would help fund it.
Right.
Yeah, and I saw this grant. I'm really glad you went for it. I'm sorry it's a difficult process, but I love that you're finding this money and these grants and applying for them.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Fully
I
supportive.
agree with my colleagues. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
Madam Chair, I move approval of resolution number R25-008 in the matter of applying for a local government grant from the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department for the development of a second fee collection station at Barview Jetty Campground and authorizing Dan Kais to sign the grant application.
My second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you
Dan.
very much. Much appreciated.
Okay, we will move on to item number 8, consideration of a letter in support of a criminal justice reinvestment preliminary grant application. Lieutenant Ani Seaholm from the Sheriff's Office. Good morning.
So this is our Justice Reinvestment preliminary grant application. Justice Reinvestment started back in 2013, and so we've been applying for the grant since then. It's every 2 years. They've changed the course of how we apply in the last couple grant cycles. So we start with a preliminary grant now, and then we get the funding amounts later, and then we'll come back with the final application. So the preliminary grant, and what is for consideration today for a letter of support, includes all of our programs. It also refers to the dashboards for justice reinvestment. So the Criminal Justice Commission does dashboards for prison usage, recidivism rates, racial disparity tools, and a whole list of things. But those are the three that we focus on for the application. The programs are very similar, actually the same as what we did for the last grant cycle, but we have added one. So the programs include our JRP program, which is supervision of JRP cases, so drug, property, and driving crime, but also a level of kind of an intensive supervision with those cases. And then also we can offer a pre-sentence risk assessment and give that information to the court for determination if a downward departure case is appropriate instead of a prison sentence. Brighter Futures program includes a whole list of things, but it's mainly an adult in custody or a justice-involved individual professional development type of program. So it focuses on interview skills, resume building. The AICs can ask to be or volunteer to be a worker in custody and gain skills that way. Food handlers card, we have a contract with Tillman Bay Community College, so anybody that's on supervision can get their GED or up to 3 college credits or the equivalent to if they want to do like a certificate program. The tablets in the jail offer tons of cognitive programs, different languages, religions, things like that, that everybody has access to there. Some of the funds we try to put towards subsidy housing and reentry needs. So for those releasing into the community or find themselves needing some assistance throughout their time on supervision, we're able to support that hopefully. We have a court call notification. This piece is kind of complementary to what the pretrial release and circuit court already does. So for those individuals that get booked and released before they see a pretrial release officer or the judge, they're on a release agreement. And this part is jail staff calls them and just reminds them, hey, look at your release agreement. Make sure you contact the circuit court. Make sure you know of your court date. So it's just an extra reminder, hopefully to help cut down on fail to appears. And then the added piece is a criminal deputy field assistant. So community corrections works very closely with the criminal division and the corrections division, but the criminal division does help us at times go out in the field, maybe come as a second officer or deputy, or go out and do a home visit for us. And so this way we're kind of incorporating that into our programs to assist with some of those higher risk offenders, those that maybe have a higher risk to abscond, try to get them back into services before they actually do abscond, and just have more eyes on the individual and try to grow a better rapport with those folks. And then, like I said, this also includes looking at our dashboards. We have been below the prison usage baseline that's set for our county since May of 2022. That baseline was established between 2012 and 2015 with prison usage that was, I guess, an average. And that was, our baseline is at 127.6 months. And so they do look at where we're at in comparison with that baseline, and we're significantly below that at this point. And so they do look at that, and then our recidivism rates, and compile it all in the dashboards, and then we have to reflect to that and give them information. So I think that's about it. Like I said, we'll get the financial piece of it later, and then I'll be back here before you all to go over that and what we can apply to the programs.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, questions, comments?
I'd like to thank Lieutenant Seaholm for her work. This is a ton of work, and to convey that LIPSIC approved this application.
Perfect, thank you.
Feel the same. She worked so hard on all these grants. There's so many grant works. I appreciate all that.
Yes, and I think it's interesting to note that this grant comes from the state in an effort for them not to build more prisons. And it's a way that they push the work if you will, back to the community. It can be really good for those those adults in custody because they get all of these great tools to get out and to limit recidivism. But at the same time, it's another piece where the state said, "Gosh, we're going to have to spend a whole lot of money. Let's not. Let's give it back to the counties." So it does come with the JRI grant, but I would suggest that's probably not enough for the amount of work that comes with it. So thank you for all that you do, and I know that it is a ton of work. So thank you for that.
Are you ready for a motion? Madam Chair, I move to approve a letter in support of a criminal justice reinvestment preliminary grant application.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
Arlene.
you.
Tony.
Okay, moving on to item number 9, consideration of a 16th amendment to the Oregon Health Authority 2023-2025 intergovernmental agreement number 180028 for the financing of public health services. Marlene Putman, Administrator, Health and Human Services. Good morning, Marlene.
This is a pretty simple item, and you're used to the amendments. This is the 16th amendment of the agreement between Tillamook County and the Oregon Health Authority for the 2023-2025 biennium. So we're almost done. June 30 is the end of the biennium. This amendment is effective March 1, retroactively. The amount is included in attachment C, which is a total of $4,229.48, which has been added to our program element 4605 for public health, which relates to reproductive health, community participation, and assurance of access. So the original budget was $12,688.44, and the total is now $16,917.92. Although the amount is small, we still want to make sure we expend those funds within the grant period. So they are used for a portion of staffing, which is almost always underfunded. So that will be applied to that particular position. I don't know if you'll have some additional amendments before the end of the biennium, but we'll see. So again, this is an amendment to the original agreement. Formerly, the amendment was referred to Exhibit C, and it's now being replaced by this Attachment A in the modification as described in your materials.
Okay,
And that's it from me.
perfect. Any questions, Commissioners, or comments?
Not for me.
None for me.
Okay, nor from me. Very standard piece of our business. So thank you for bringing it forward, Marlene. I would entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a 16th amendment to the Oregon Health Authority 2023-2025 intergovernmental agreement number 180028 for the financing of public health services.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify and say by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 10, consideration of Housing Production Solutions Fund Grant Agreement number 2025-HPSF-2 with Maker Development Studio LLC for the Tillamook Bay Commons project. And we have Parker Sammons, Housing Coordinator, Department of Community Development. Good morning, Parker.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, I was here just a few weeks ago to kind of giving you an overview of the project and their awards, and now I am here to execute them. Before you is a contract spelling out their agreement with us and the reporting responsibilities and their agreement to keep rents at the affordable levels that they have indicated. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner?
Don't have any questions. Great work. Thanks for bringing it before us.
Yeah, no questions for me also. Fully supportive.
Same here. No questions. So I would entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of Housing Production Solutions Fund Grant Agreement number 2025-HPSF-2 with Maker Development Studio LLC for the Tillamook Bay Commons project.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item 11, also with Parker, consideration of Housing Production Solutions Grant Agreement number HPSF-5 with Alder Ridge LLC for the Alder Ridge project.
Once again, this is a project that I've described with you guys and talked about, and the terms are very, very similar, if not almost nearly identical to the last contract, with just a few less contingencies and different rent restrictions. But otherwise, it is identical.
Excellent.
Questions, comments?
No.
Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of Housing Production Solutions Grant Agreement number HPSF-5 with the Alder Ridge LLC for the Alder Ridge project.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Carries. Thank you, Parker.
Thank you all.
Okay, we will move on to item number 12, consideration of an Oregon Department of Revenue County Assessment Function Funding Assessment, CAFFA, program grant application. Cassandra Larson, assessor. Good morning.
Really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? It's
Yes.
like, phew.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. Before you today is the CAFA grant resolution for your consideration. This is an annual grant that we apply for every year. What I'd like to do is take a little time to talk to you about when CAFA started, how CAFA is funded, where the money comes from, a few details about the application process, what signing the resolution means, and problems we have right now with declining CAFA revenue. CAFA started in the 1980s, so I'm just going to read a short portion of this because I was 2 when it started. So for the background, in the early 1980s, the decline in Oregon's economy took its toll on the property tax system. Problems included counties couldn't maintain real market value due to budget cuts. They couldn't pass new tax bases or serial levies to maintain minimum service levels. And the mandated 6-year cycle couldn't be maintained as required by statute. This resulted in reports to the legislature concerning the disintegration of the property tax system. The reports discussed the serious problems with the property tax system, which were causing properties in Oregon to be assessed and taxed unfairly. Inadequate staffing led to non-uniform assessment programs. To reverse this disintegration and recognize a shared responsibility for statewide uniformity and accuracy in assessment and taxation, House Bill 2338 was enacted, which created CAFA. The legislation provided A&T officials in state an additional funding source for approved A&T programs by increasing delinquent interest and recording fees. So this pool of money that we are applying for a portion of, where the funding for that comes, is a portion of it is delinquent interest on property tax. Property tax is delinquent if you have not paid the full amount May 16th every year. It is 1.3% a month, which turns into 16% a year interest. We send out about 1,500 delinquent property tax statements a year. And then, of course, if you don't pay, you have 4 years before the foreclosure process starts. So a portion of that delinquent interest goes into the CAFA. 25%, so if you have $100 delinquent interest, the first 25% goes to the state, so $25. Then there's what we call that's called tier 1. Then there's tier 2, which is another 25%, but what it does is it excludes K through 12 and excludes the county. So it's only taking the delinquent interest from all the other districts. What's interesting is that 25% changes every year. The state looks at if they think that they cannot get at least 13 million into CAFA, they change those percentages every year for July 1st. So currently those percentages, the first tier I believe is 35%, the second tier is 38%. The other way that CAFA gets funded is a $9 recorded fee on all documents that are recorded here at the county. So to put that into real context of what that means, last fiscal year, we collected $330,000 in delinquent interest. The first tier that went to the state was $115,000, and then the second tier that went to the state was $18,000. So $134 was sent there. $196 stayed with the county, and then the county distributed it to all the districts. I talked to Christy Nyseth, our county clerk, about the recording fee, and last calendar year, she said that the recording fee equated to about $49,000. Okay, so a few details about the application process. When I apply for the CAFA grant, it's not just our budget that I submit. What it is it's a portion of IS department's budget, cartography, treasurers, and the clerk's office, because these are all departments that help aid in assessment and taxation funding. For instance, the clerk's office helps us with property appeals. So when you look at this resolution, the resolution for the amount of what it takes for us to do all of our functions is $2,869,000. Our department's budget that we're requesting alone this year is $2.2 million. So essentially what this is saying is $620,000 comes from these other departments to help aid in the function of assessment and taxation. The application process is lengthy. What it does is we have to report everything that we do, from the numbers of new construction, partition plats, segregations, deeds recording, mailing address changes, all of those functions, and then it looks at all of the staffing, and it says, do you have the adequate staffing and funding to do all of these functions? All of the counties apply for this statewide, and then they determine which, what amount the counties get, and of course, Multnomah gets the most of it. So what signing this resolution means, I think the board chair or the designee has to sign the resolution, is that the county shall distribute 100% of the amount certified. When I do this CAFA grant, I'm working off of proposed budgets. So if the departments, and if our department doesn't get the requested amount, I have to submit an amended CAFA grant. And if the state does not deem that that's an appropriate amount of money, they will enter into discussions with the board. So CAFA grant was great for a while. About 20 years ago, it accounted for 30% of our department's budget. And then the problem with CAFA, though, is that none of it is increasing with inflation. So while you have delinquent interest, while you have document recording fees go with the market. They don't go with inflation. So at one point, I think probably 10 years ago it was, the CAFA grant amount that we were receiving was about $400,000, and our department's budget was 1.8. This last fiscal year, we received $310,000, and our department's budget is 2.9, and that's with everybody's together. So when you look at one point, we were at 30%, and now the CAFA grant percentage is about 11%. This is a huge problem statewide that the state needs to be involved in, as they were before, because if our departments are not funded, we cannot maintain true and accurate real market value on properties, and we cannot complete our statutorily required functions. There is a potential fix that's happening. It is called House Bill 5318. And what this would do is, instead of the delinquent interest going to the state, all of the delinquent interests would go to the districts, and it would be allocated the same way property tax is. The $9 recorded document fee would double and go to $18. That would go to CAFA. But then the other part of this is 0.3% of property tax would be held back from the districts, and that would go into CAFA. And then that goes up at 3% a year. So what we would say is that while we are holding 0.3% back, we're also going to give you all the delinquent interest. So it's going to help offset that. So I looked at what it would mean for Tillamook County. And in that first year, if this went through last year, it would mean it would cost you about $4,000. But it's a short-term loss for a long-term gain. Because if we are not funded, we can't get the districts the revenue that they deserve. So there's a lot of traction going on in legislation right now. We're very positive about this bill, and I'll let you know as it progresses, but it has a lot of energy behind it right now. And I think, do you have any questions? That was a lot to get through.
That was a lot of great information. Questions or
No, I
comments?
was just gonna ask you about how the House bill is doing. Obviously, it made it out of committee, so it's still alive, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of positive things about it.
Perfect.
I don't have any questions, but I want to thank you for that presentation, for that overview. I have listened to CAFA presentations once a year, and I learned some new things today, and I'm particularly interested in the bill, so thanks for talking about it.
Okay, appreciate it, and I am hopeful that as the CAFA grant was created in partnership with the state and the recognition that we needed to have the equal assessment across the state of Oregon, that they will recognize and pass this bill in support of continuing that work. So, fingers crossed. So, yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention is that the state does keep 10% of CAFA revenue for their administration costs.
You know, they seem to take a bite out of everything we collect.
Take a lot of bites out of that apple,
Right,
don't they?
so we have this, we have this list going of the pieces where there's already a mechanism in place for the state to be a better partner with us, and I think this is one of them that goes on that
Agree.
list, which says, you take a piece, you know, we're already collecting this money, and then we have to give it to you. What if you just let us keep it? You
Mhm.
know, in the efforts of ensuring that we are adequately funded to provide those services that we do in partnership with them. So I will add this one to my list that says, don't make us send you that. Let us keep it for the hard work we're doing.
You know, I think it is very important, though, that for us, that the Department of Revenue is funded. They are our oversight. They are the ones that are determining if we are in compliance with everything that we need to do. So, and when we struggle, we call them and they answer the phone. So Department of Revenue is a great resource for us to make sure that we're adequately applying the statutes correctly and getting our work done appropriately. So.
Okay. If there are no questions, I think we'd entertain a motion, Commissioners.
Madam Chair, I move approval of an Oregon Department of Revenue County Assessment Function Funding Assessment, CAFA, program grant application.
All right, second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not hearing any, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right, thank
Motion
you.
carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a 10 a.m. Time certain public hearing, I believe. Is it time certain? I thought it was. So why don't we go ahead, Commissioners, if there are any board concerns, we can go ahead and do that piece of our agenda. If not, then we will end up taking a brief recess to meet our 10 a.m. time certain. So are there any board concerns today?
You want to talk about traffic again?
Takes a little longer than she said.
She reported yesterday there was a little bit of delay. Today,
It's a lot of a
she
delay.
was
A lot of
delayed
bit of
quite
a
bit.
delay.
It's a lot of a delay. In North County, there is construction in Garibaldi with a pilot car that's slowing things down considerably, and also in Wheeler, there's construction at the Halem Bay Health District construction site, and also on Miami Foley, there are a couple of traffic stop lights for bridge work on the Miami Foley, and people can expect to wait at least 20 minutes there. And all of those things combined this morning with me getting behind the buses. I left
Oh.
early. I left
Small
early
buses.
and just in time to get behind the buses. So,
Oh.
yeah,
It's a good illustration of how we have very few roads here, and when a couple of them get
right.
blocked,
Yeah.
or
Slowed down.
slowed
or-
down, it impacts us.
Yeah. So it's,
All of us.
and what I really want to say about that is please support Garibaldi businesses. That construction project will be going on throughout the summer, and those businesses are experiencing a huge impact because it's difficult to get through there. And there's, the road is torn up, so there isn't any obvious parking. And I've heard from businesses, the estimate is their business is down from 30 to 70%. And, and they can expect that impact through the summer. So please support local business. plan the time, and, take the trouble to find a place to park off-street and support our local businesses. So help them get through this construction project. It's going to be great. It's going quickly and it looks really good. ODOT has a ton of people out there, but businesses are really struggling.
Thank you.
I don't know if I mentioned last week. Did I mention the search and rescue banquet and the results of it?
I don't think that you did.
So, yeah, last week, over a week ago, we had Tillamook County Search and Rescue had their banquet and auction, and our own chair helped with serving the food. I had the MC duties, didn't scare everybody away. Rachel was there with her family. I found out they've raised about $36,000.
Great.
So, and it was funny because I was looking at Assessor Larson and her son had won. I had won a $100 gift certificate, and I put it up for auction, and her son had won
Oh,
it
nice.
for the Garibaldi Bistro.
Oh, excellent.
Speaking of Garibaldi businesses,
Yeah, that's great.
Excellent.
yeah, no, they did a great job. It was a fun time.
No, it's a great event. We've been doing it for, I think, 3 years now, and Jim always donates a trip, and so it was fun. We got to meet the person who got his trip in the auction, and he's already booked his dates to go fishing.
Fantastic.
So
And
yeah.
Jim was in the kitchen the whole night.
Jim was in the
Working
kitchen. He was
hard
back
on
there
most
car-
of it.
yeah, he was one of the meat slicers.
It's a great
that's-
job.
Yeah. Yep.
Great
no,
event.
it's a great event. We
Just
appreciate
another
the
example of the community coming out
Mm-hmm.
and donating their precious money to a
100%.
good cause.
100%. There's something every weekend that you can go and do to support a good effort in this community. So
I would like to remind folks about the Home and Garden Show this weekend at the Tillamook County Fairgrounds. My colleagues will be there, maybe Paul on Saturday and Aaron on Sunday. And they have a booth for supporting ballot measure 29-183 to raise transient lodging tax by 4%. So transient lodging tax is paid by visitors, and we are asking voters to support a motion to increase it by 4%. So you can come this weekend, talk to your commissioners, ask questions, come talk about anything. They'll be there. There'll be a captive audience. So this weekend, the Home and Garden Show.
I would also say that I've seen that there's been some opposition on Facebook, and so if anybody sees that and they'd like to come, there's some misleading information on there regarding voting against it. So if you want to read that, have any questions, come on out and ask us, and we can give you the facts on it.
Great, thank you.
perfect. Okay. If there are no other board concerns, I think what I will do is we will take a brief recess of this meeting, which will also give community development a chance to get set up and be ready for our 10 a.m. time certain hearing. So we will go ahead and recess this meeting at 9:54 a.m. We will return at 10 a.m. Okay. We have time. Thank you. How you doing there, Paul?
I was gonna blow up, I'm like so thirsty. I want to make that.
Me?
I am Commissioner Scar. Jasper should be online for Public
Yep,
Works.
I see Jasper there.
Okay, let me make sure I've got the right citation.
Am I opening this hearing at 10 a.m. and then hearing your presentations? Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Because often we open a public hearing for the public comment portion and close it after the public comment portion. So in fact, I don't open the hearing, I just invite staff's presentation. The hearing actually is opened and closed right around the public comment section. Is that right?
Is there somebody from the Public Works Department?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, Jasper will be.
right, and they will, but they're outside of the public comment part of it, right?
Yes.
The hearing, so the hearing opens and closes around public comment.
And Jasper is representing Public Works as the applicant. No, yeah, that's,
The mic. I'm sorry, what? Can you mute the mic? Yes. We're not.
I have not called us back into session. I was confirming the run of show before I did that.
Jane's not here. Oh, that's what Debbie was holding up to show us.
And it's not letting me pull the presentation that I want.
Got my little cheat sheets.
I don't want that one.
Doesn't mean I'll remember that, but I'll do my best.
You can win it.
Huh? Oh, there we go.
I have them.
That one. I got a new computer the other week, which is really exciting.
New computers are always exciting and can be a tad perplexing. I was like, does she have a sticker on the back of that? No, it's a different symbol.
It's okay. Well, you do have copies.
Are you not able to share?
It's not pulling. Debbie gave me shareability, but it's not letting me share.
Do you want Debbie to run through the slides?
I can, yeah. That'll work. Okay. Okay, Debbie. There you go. Yes, I just did. All right. So yes, okay, ready when you are.
We'll give Debbie a moment to get that pulled up. You ready back there, Debbie? Okay, Jane? Okay, we will reconvene this meeting at 10:04 a.m. and move on to agenda item 13, which is a public hearing concerning a road naming request number 851-25-000018-PLNG to name an unnamed public right-of-way to Wetland Way located within Section 6, Township 4 South, Range 10 West of the Willamette Meridian, Tillamook County, Oregon. And we have Sarah Absher, our Director of Community Development, with us this morning. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. So before you today is a request from the Tillamook County Public Works Department to name a road that has not been previously named. Jasper Lind from Public Works has joined me this morning for this presentation. Road naming falls under community development to bring forward to the Board of County Commissioners. It requires a public hearing, and this is all governed under ordinance number 33 and ordinance number 37, which are outside of the land use ordinance. They're actually their own standalone ordinances for road name and rename requests. So before you is the request to name an unnamed road in Tierra del Mar to Wetland Way. Next slide, please. There you go. Perfect. Thank you, Debbie. So Jasper, would you like to jump in and co-present and visit with the board about the reason for this request?
I will be happy to. Good morning, commissioners.
Good
Good to
morning.
talk to you again. So this particular public right-of-way, as Sarah had mentioned, is currently unnamed. It was dedicated to the public through Plat C-121 and C-122, which were recorded in 1935 and 1937 respectively. It overlaps three different tax maps, being map 6, 6BC, and 6CB of Township 4 South, 10 West. The reason that we are naming it now is somebody built a house with their solitary access off of this public right-of-way, and in order to respond to addressing issues for an unnamed road and a house on it, we filed this particular request. Due to the road being oriented in a diagonal position and being a discontinuous road, the appropriate moniker for it would be a way as opposed to other designations. And given that it is, if you wouldn't mind switching to the next slide, this particular road separates the community of Tierra del Mar from the southern extension of the Sitka Sedge wetlands, which you can see on the just to the east of that highlighted red section. Given the diagonal orientation, its discontinuous nature, and its close proximity to the wetlands, we figured Wetland Way would be an appropriate name for this particular right-of-way. If you have any further questions on that, I'd be happy to address them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions? So let's see, we have now had, going through my list, our presentation, so we are to the VOCC questions.
We are not quite done.
Oh, not there yet.
Yep,
Okay.
next slide, please. All right. So getting back to the ordinance and what the commissioners are charged with, it is the commissioners that decide the name and renaming. And as you can see, it's not just roads, it includes parks and public improvements. So we've actually named some bridges and different things before as well. This is a public road, as Public Works has just verified. Next slide, please. So with that, Public Works is one of the parties that has the ability to make a request of this type. The ordinance is very specific about who has the ability to make these requests and bring these requests forward through community development. So Public Works is one of the qualifiers to do so. Next slide, please. And then, so this is important, as Jasper had mentioned, the whole purpose of naming this unnamed road is for addressing purposes. Part of what community development does is all of the addressing for all properties in unincorporated areas of Tillamook County. So we work closely with 911 on addressing, and that also includes road names, not only for requests like this that are before you for existing roads and facilities, but also for corrections. And one of the things that's really important to us in 911 is to make sure that there's no duplications of anything proposed that's already in the road system and in the 911 system. I think there's 5 sunset drives across Tillamook County between cities and unincorporated areas. So we don't want any more sunset drives. So part of the review that community development has to do is to make sure that the proposed name, in this case Wetland Way, is not similar or like any other existing road names within our road system countywide, including cities. And so we have done that work and can verify that this is a unique name that surprisingly has not been taken yet. Next slide, please. And then just some housekeeping issues through the ordinance, what our responsibilities are for this type of a public hearing. This notice was published in the Headlight Herald. We also have to notice all property owners that have property abutting the road that's under review for road names. So we have done that, and again have also reached out to 911. That should be, and then just the Nestucca Rural Fire Protection District, and no comments were received. Next slide, please. So our summary and staff recommendation is, again, we verified the applicant, Public Works, is eligible to make this request. We have publicly noticed it. There are no other similar road names. No objections have been received, and we support Public Works' request to name this road. And that is all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jasper, that was Jasper's portion. Did he have anything else that you wanted to add, Jasper, or are we good on your presentation?
We're good from our end. Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. Thank you. Commissioners, this is our opportunity to ask questions of Sarah and Jasper before we hear public comment, should there be any.
I think it's a great, I think it's a great and appropriate name.
There are no questions, so we will, however, go ahead and hold the public comment portion of this hearing, which I believe then we will open the public hearing at 10:11 a.m. Do we have anyone online? I see there is no one in the room who wishes to make public comment today. And were there any written public comments submitted? I didn't see any.
No, Commissioner. there
Okay.
were none.
We will close the public hearing at 10:11 a.m. Okay, final comments from Jasper or Sarah? Anything to relate to those numerous comments?
The only thing is if the board approves this, we will come back with the order
Mhm.
for your signature next week to formally complete the road name process.
Perfect. Commissioners, if there are no
Nope.
other questions or comments, we don't need a motion. We need a motion, but it's a different motion because you were.
So direct,
Yep. Okay. Good. So do you need a land use style motion or is what's here appropriate?
what's there is appropriate.
Go ahead.
All right, Madam Chair, I move approval of a road naming request number 851-25-000018-PLND to name an unnamed public right-of-way to Wetland Way, located within Section 6, Township 4 South, Range 10 West of the Willamette Meridian, Tillamook County, Oregon.
My second.
We have a motion and a second. One more time, any further discussion? Oh, Mary Faith didn't have your microphone on. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we have already done our board concerns. I will cover our meeting announcements and we will be done for today. So the local public safety coordinating council, that was already happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need that one. And I went to the Lightwave meeting and circuit court. So the commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 in the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 155-859-952#. The Tillamook County's Compensation Board will meet virtually on Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 12 p.m. in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 at the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-2149. Conference ID 866-914-607#. The Compensation Board, as required by state law ORS 204.112, will discuss the process to determine compensation for the salaries of county's elected officials. If you have questions, please contact Rachel Haggerty, Chief Administrative Officer at rachel.haggerty@tillamookcounty.gov. Okay, I believe with that, we've concluded our business for today and we can adjourn this meeting at 10:14 a.m.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
This afternoon, I sold
No, and we're not talking about it just yet publicly, but we are gathering information to figure out what we do next. So for your benefit, no one that has resigned as our operator of Tillamook Lightwave because the two people that had been working with us both have left.
I have a couple of updates for you if you got just a quick sec. Okay.
And we're at a point now where in the process for the grants,